Hey guys, this is What If Deku was the 1000th user of All for One. All for One. Wait, One for All. Oh my god. I am stupid! But let's just dive right into this fanfiction. So I last left off when Izuku basically was having a dinner with his mom, celebrating the whole fact that he got into UA. We also got a little bit of conversation with Izuku and All Might, or the note saying or telling Izuku that the quirk's been around for longer than the registered years quirks were actually coming into existence, or quirks actually were registered and pretty much classified as a new stage in human evolution. But to put it frank, Deku was happy. We get switched the next couple of days, or the next day, and you see Izuku's in class chilling, and out of nowhere, All Might bursts through the room. All Might bursts through the room and starts talking to everybody, as he eventually explains to everybody that Aizawa is out of class right now, but today they're going to be doing quirk training, or combat training, and basically presses a button, releasing these boxes, actually suitcases, out of the wall, basically showing numbers assigned to the students, telling them that these are your hero costumes that you assigned or turned into us, and to get ready and to get suited up, as Izuku's ready and pumped up. Izuku's hero costume has changed a little bit because he's kind of inspired by later heroes in this continuity because of the butterfly effect. Deku's hero costume be more of a mixture of this. So basically, I'll put it on the screen right now. This is Deku's hero costume. It's like Deku was told earlier on, like I said in part 1, that the quirk's been like over 1,000 years old. As Deku was given the realization that quirks are older than he ever thought, but him also knowing that if All Might, or if All for One for All, is a stockpiling power quirk, and the power's been stockpiling for thousands of years, Izuku put two together using his detective skills to make sure that his suit would be durable enough. Deku was going to use his mom's suit, as his mom gave him the suit, the original suit, as Izuku was happy for his mom giving it to him. As Izuku would have had it refashioned to be a lot more durable, because he knew for a fact that his quirk would be devastating, since his quirk already was so close to breaking apart his body, and also his quirk was unpredictable on top of that, since he literally shot lightning out of his hands when he knew he couldn't even do that. So Izuku wanted to make sure his quirk was able to basically be used without him obliterating his suit. So he basically told his mom to try and make it more durable, as his mom actually, in this continuity for plot reasons, would have actually been an old tailor for hero costumes back in her high day, but she stopped working it because the organization she was working for kind of paid them under the market. Like, they paid them so bad to the point where they got sued, and Momo actually I forgot Izuku's mom's name. What the? Inko. Inko would have sued the hero company, basically getting the money from them and making sure that she can, support her family. So what would happen is, well, she would have gotten the money from it. She would have put some more money into his costume, making it more durable as his request, and basically saying that she brought a little bit more memories to me when I was in my heyday, Izuku, as she kissed him on the forehead, saying that to be safe today, as Izuku's hero costumes in the mail were sent to the school, as the school checked it and was given back to Izuku today. Let's jump back into the current time. So enough yapping. So what would happen is Izuku would put on his hero costume, as his hero costume would be something like this, right? As he wouldn't really been wearing the helmet, and it would be more of a collapsible helmet. Basically, if he took the end of the mask piece and pulled it up, it would collapse on and fold into itself like an origami, and basically be like a hood on the back of his suit. So Deku didn't really need to wear the mask, so he just put the mask down as Izuku was ready to go. The suit was made out of some Kevlar that Inko actually still had left over from her old heyday of making hero costumes, like deep in the attic of the house. I mean, deep in the attic of the house. I don't know if it's legal to have Kevlar just chilling in your house, but that's what Deku has on his suit now. He has Kevlar reinforced plates on the parts of his body and all sorts of other things like that, basically making sure that his suit could take a beating and actually take what he's going to be throwing at it in the future. As Izuku is kind of prepared for what his quirk has in mind, barely. But what happened is, All Might would have told everybody to get ready and teamed up as Azuku and Momo would have been teamed up. Deku had told to go, as eventually their match against Ida and Bakugo would have began. Azuku knew that Bakugo was after him off the rip since he heard the whole commotion as Bakugo was yelling 1,000 times louder in continuity. So what happened is Azuki would have told Momo, Jesus, I'm off my game, goddamn. So basically, he told Chaku that this would be the perfect time for her to get ready and set and go. As what would happen is Azuku and Ochaku would have split up, as he would have told Ochaku to go upstairs and try to get to the bomb room to hold off Ida and try to grab the bomb. If you can't, try to stall him enough so I can show up and help you out. As he said he was going to handle Bakugo on his own, or try to stop him if you could get the bomb. So either way, we would both be kind of preoccupied unless we just defeated the other's opponent and then line back up to basically get the bomb. So they would have split up, Azuka going up the stairs and Ochaku just going straight up the stairs, using her quirk to levitate through the staircase, as what would happen, or up the staircase, as what would happen is Azuka would have been going to floor to floor, eventually him crossing the turner and hearing a huge explosion as he would have looked over, seeing a huge gust of basically fire and brimstone coming straight towards him. Azuka would have dodged narrowly, shooting himself around the pretty much hallway, basically using a bully pawn type move, basically pulling a page on a Ben 10 and doing a cannonball move, jumping to wall to wall to wall, dodging all the explosions. He eventually getting close enough to throw a devastating blow on Bakugo, but Bakugo would have dodged, throwing another big ass blow on the side of Izuku, pushing Izuku into a wall, almost knocking him outside the building into a window. Izuku would have climbed himself back into the room or the hallway, as he would have thrown a huge gust of wind using his wind pressure quirk or his super strength to basically blast the floor, pushing Bakugo off of his pretty much stance. Deku would have rushed into this opening, but Bakugo would have met him with a mean uppercut, knocking Izuku off his ass. Izuku would have fell to the ground as he would have gotten back up, getting hit with a mean, and I mean mean, jump kick straight to the freaking face. Sorry, YouTube. Please don't shadow ban me. But what happened is he got boxed down to the ground like an almond on a freight train, and Izuku would have gotten back up, basically looking at Bakugo would have said, "You're a nerd. How did you get a quirk? How did you just lie to me? You lied to me our whole childhood." Suzuki would have yelled at him, saying, "You yelled at me. You treated me like shit. You didn't even treat me like a friend anymore. I hate you, Bakugo." As they would have started to yell at each other, as Deku was just going off and trying to aggravate, Bakugo. As they didn't really hate Bakugo, but they didn't like how he treated him throughout their whole childhood. Now, Deku would have dodged out the way narrowly, as he would have hit him with a mean haymaker straight to the jugular, as Bakugo would have been sent flying through a whole entire room into another building. Not building, but into another room through the hallway. Bakugo getting up, coughing up some blood, as Deku would have jumped on top of him, not even letting that man breathe or even get back up. I'm not even going to give you the chance, as he threw a huge Goku type, out of nowhere, instant transmission type punch. Bro was boxed. I don't know how Bakugo's gonna get out of this one. I'm not gonna hold you. You're not getting out of this one, pal. But Bakugo, last minute, pulled a whole ass kickflip out of the way and hitting Izuku with a huge explosion. Izuku would get blasted across the room into two different pillars, him knocking himself on the ground. Bakugo getting back up, as he would have been on the floor after the explosion, as he would have thrown another explosion towards Izuku. Izuku would have been dodging out of the way as fast as possible. Izuku being about 2 times to 5 times faster than his cannon self, him using a lot of his speed and his whole body, or not his whole body, but his legs, pushing himself forward. As Izuku would have thrown a huge left hook, he would have threw a huge overhand right at Bakugo's forehead, but Bakugo dodging out the way, pulling the gauntlet, point blank range, might I ask you, right on Izuku's chest as Izuku was trying to get closer to him. And the explosion went off. All Might was yelling. He's like, "What the?" And bro, it was nothing but clear smoke. All Might was about to jump in there, but we would have heard Izuku make some noise with the rubble, him pushing the rubble off of him. And Izuku was coughing up a lot of blood, his head bleeding profusely. as Deku would be confused on how the hell he's still alive as he got a point-blank explosion shot dead in his chest. As we all know how big that explosion was if you've seen the episode. Now Izuku would have gotten up as he would have started to look at his body as he'd be confused on what was going on. His blood would have started to pump back into his body. His wounds started to cover back up as Izuku would have been confused saying what the heck's going on. As it would have been a new quirk that was unlocked in that short amount of time. Now for Deku, if he's like near-death situations, new quirks will activate for Izuku. Now this is I think I'm going to wait until like 2-3 more parts before I give Izuku another quirk. But for simple thing, Izuku now has electricity, regeneration, or creation, like he had in part 1 that he explored at the end of the entrance exams. As we also know, Izuku now has regeneration. Now, Izuku doesn't have like Deadpool regeneration or Wolverine regeneration, but Izuku's strong enough to regenerate from small wounds and burn marks. So Izuku can't regenerate limbs or anything like that, but Izuku can regenerate basically smaller limbs like fingers, toes, ears, or noses, or even regenerate teeth and things like that. Also break his bones back together. So basically Izuku's quirk will be able to regenerate his body and heal him, but nothing too devious like, basically Izuku getting blown up, like straight up nuke type level, but maybe with the unlocked force of One for All. Basically, Izuku might be able to pull off Deadpool levels of regeneration, but he would have to pretty much peep up the quirk or unlock more potential or more percentage of One for All later on in the future. So right now, his quirk basically just allows him to regenerate from small wounds and explosions and some internal bleeding and other things like that. So his whole body can regenerate, it's just he can't regenerate limbs or anything of the sort like that. So what would happen is and also the regeneration only activates when Izuku is like near death. So Izuku is like, cut up or he got his hand stabbed through. It's not near death, he's just injured, so it wouldn't activate. But yeah, I'm not gonna give him like super OP regeneration since Deku, he still has to have problems and injuries to basically give him new experiences and push him farther as a character to get development and become stronger. So what happened is Izuku would have started to get back up. Him being still a little bit of woozy as a regeneration would have actually been kind of slow. Like for a broken bone, it would take like an hour for it to heal. For a few wounds, like 30 something minutes. Like scorch marks, like skin surface wounds, like 10 minutes, stuff like that. So Izuku would have started to camp out in the hallways as eventually about 30 minutes would have gone by as Ida was still booking it around Ochaku. Ochaku not even being able to get close towards Ida. Eventually what would happen is, Deku would have gotten up as his wounds would have started to heal back up, him feeling a little bit strong enough to go back and try to end off this fight with Bakugo. As Deku would have started to try to channel up the electricity quirk he activated, I think, 2 days ago, as he would have tried to channel some sort of electricity, as he would have started to move it around his body, him feeling the energy course through his body, as he would have started to pull off some sort of Azula Avatar type lightning bending type moves. So what would happen, Izuku would have started to move his body around, having his fingers kind of like how Azula and pretty much Avatar, Uncle Iroh, basically the firebenders in Avatar that firebend, basically started to lightning bend the electricity around his body, and eventually Izuku would have saw Bakugo come towards him, fighting him, and pulling off another explosion. Izuku, before the explosion went off, he would have pulled a fast one, joking out of the way of the explosion narrowly, being on the side of the wall, basically getting grilled alive by the backlash or the reduced heat from the explosion, as Deku would have shocked a huge amount of electricity through Bakugo, pushing him out of the window and having him fall to his death. Izuku would have realized his error in his ways, him not knowing the full extent of this quirk yet, but him starting to push himself faster and faster, jumping out of the window and grabbing Bakugo, and him using his super strength to basically drill his freaking hands through the concrete wall, and he lashed themselves on the side of the building. Deku would have threw Bakugo through a window, basically saving him, as he would have effectively started to use his new skill, as he would have started to use his quirk in his hands and started to literally cave and crawl and Miguel O'Hara's type, pretty much claw himself up on the wall, scaling the building, and eventually find his way through the window of the room. Pretty much Bakugo and Ochaku are fighting. Ida and Ochaku are fighting. And Deku would have used a skill coming out, and him using his flick skill, or his pretty much, I don't know what it's called, but him using his flick skill, basically flicking the air with one for all, as he would have started to blast a huge gust of wind towards Ida, pushing Ida into a pillar, knocking that man clean out, Chris Breezy style, bro. Mans was out for the count. So after that, we would see that Ochaku would have released all the grubble, as Deku was right underneath a huge pillar. Azuku dodged out of the way last minute, and him grabbing the bomb before it hit the ground, as they won. Now, basically what happened after that, everybody would have been told to go back home. Bakugo would have been scolded heavily by All Might, but what happened is All Might would have been kind of impressed by Azuku's resilience, and also him trying to save Bakugo at the end, by him telling Deku that he had to master his quirks better, as he would also ask Deku if he's okay, and he got a real big explosion. Has been no real users of All For One that have some sort of invulnerability quirk to his knowledge, since the quirk's been spanned out through decades, as not every person or not every quirk user's been registered yet that had the quirk. So what happened is Zuko would just be saying that it's okay, and that for some reason his wounds just started healing on their own. Zuko would have been told by All Might that that was an older type of quirk that was around the medieval ages. It belonged to a man named Kuro. Kuro was one of the most devilish users of All For One, and basically him using it more or less as a type of way to convince people that he was a God-fearing man, that he was a amazing man, blessed with the powers of God, and basically pushing himself to, let's just say, manipulate the townsfolk. So what happened is Zuko said, "Oh, that's kind of evil." As All Might would have said, "Yeah, it is, but it's your quirk now." I think. But they would have started to chuckle a little bit, and Deku, after through the giggling, actually being serious, saying, "Well, you think?" As All Might would have just kept on giggling, pretty much for like just throwing it off. But him telling Azuku to go home and to try to learn these quirks and try to trade with them. As he also tells Azuku that to meet him up later in the weekend for training to activate and master these two new quirks, and already all for one for all. As Azuku would have walked away, as we would have seen somebody in the distance, someone on the top of the roof, as it would have been some sort of black-figured man, as he would have stared down at Azuku and All Might, him watching Azuku and whispering to himself through a calm or something, saying that a new user's been. Now I'm leaving it out there, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. Part 3. Let's just say I'm going to make Azuku fall off the books with part 3.